Hi everyone, my name is Avram K. and you're watching Alfei Panim Parshas Lech Lecha 2025. The opening words of this week's Parsha are among the most consequential in the entire Torah. And Hashem said to Avram, "Go for yourself from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you." With these words, Hashem sets into motion the story of the Jewish people, calling the first Jew to embark on a journey that would reshape not only his own life, but the spiritual destiny of all mankind. Rashi famously explains the phrase Lech Lecha to mean for your benefit and your good. Avram's departure from his homeland would ultimately bring him blessing, but Rav David Feinstein Zatzal in his Sefer with David Mizmor offers an additional insight that unlocks the entire structure of this mitzvah, of this command. Lech Lecha, he writes, can also mean go by yourself, go alone, separate yourself. The Torah is instructing Avram not only to travel geographically, but to break away from the people and the mindsets around him. This was the beginning of something entirely new. The Torah enumerates 3 stages of separation: Artzecha, your land, Moladecha, your birthplace, and Beis Avicha, your father's house. Why the repetition? Rav David explains that each phrase represents a progressively deeper level of detachment. The first stage is Artzecha, your land. After the generation of the Migdal Bavel, the Tower of Babel, when the world was divided into 70 nations and languages, humanity fragmented into distinct cultures. Avram, who belonged to one of those nations, was commanded to leave it entirely. This was the broadest level of separation from society at large. The second stage is Mimayladcha, from your birthplace. This doesn't just mean geography. It refers to the specific networks within that society, the families and the clans that shared common ancestry and identity. Chazal teach that after the dispersion from Migdal Bavel, people grouped not only by nation but by family. Avram was to separate from this layer as well. The third and final stage is Beis Avicha, your father's house. This is the immediate family unit, the closest relationship a person has. This too, Avram was commanded to leave behind. Even Lot, his nephew, eventually had to be separated from him. Reb David points out something remarkable. The Torah tells us explicitly that Avram took the souls, the people that he made in Haran, the people he converted and taught to believe in Hashem. This seems to contradict the command to go by yourself. But the answer, says Reb David, is that the separation applied only to biological and cultural ties that might pull him back spiritually. The Talmidim, the students and converts who traveled with him were different. They were not a source of spiritual entanglement. They were extensions of his mission. But if Hashem was commanding Avram to leave everyone behind, what future was there for him? A man without family, without community, without a recognizable identity, what could he possibly accomplish? Avram faced the terrifying prospect of complete isolation. Perhaps he would disappear entirely, his life reduced to insignificance. It's here that Hashem delivers the promise, I will make you into a great nation. Rav David explains that the term Goy Gadol does not necessarily mean numerically large. Throughout history, the Jewish people were never the largest of nations. Rather, Goy Gadol means spiritually distinct and elevated. A people utterly unlike any other. Hashem was telling Avram, you will not vanish into obscurity. On the contrary, you will be the Aleph, the first letter, the foundation of an entirely new people. This same promise appears again when Hashem tells Yaakov Avinu, do not be afraid to go to Egypt, for there I will make you into a Goy Gadol. He uses the same expression. What does it mean there? That they would remain separate, unassimilated, distinct. As the Haggadah says, the Yiyu Sham L'Goy, they became a nation there because they maintained their language, their names, their way of life. To be a Goy Gadol is to stand apart even when surrounded by others. The Torah continues with the famous blessings Hashem bestows upon Avram. V'agad lo shemecha, I will make your name great. Ve'yeh bracha, and you shall be a bracha. But Rav David points out that these are not separate ideas. They flow directly from the concept of separation. When Avram would leave his old identity behind and fully embrace his new mission, Hashem's blessings would become visible through him. Wherever he went, people would see miracles and success follow him. They would honor him, study from him, and recognize that something transcendent accompanied him. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. This can mean 2 things. First, that wherever Jews settle, blessing comes to that place. History bears this out. The communities where Jews lived often flourished economically and culturally. Second, that individuals who associate with a tzaddik are blessed, as we see with Lavan and Potiphar, who prospered because of Yaakov and Yosef. Their presence channels divine abundance. Yet the Torah tells us that when Avram departed from Haran, Lot went with him. This seems puzzling. Hashem commanded Avram, Lech Lecha, go by yourself, leave your family behind, and yet he took his nephew along. Why? Rav David offers a profound answer. Avram understood that fulfilling a mitzvah must be done with derech eretz, with human sensitivity and proper conduct. He could not simply push Lot away callously. Instead, he waited for circumstances to naturally bring about the separation. After the War of the Kings, when Lot chose to return to Sodom, despite witnessing Avram's righteousness and the corruption of Sodom, the separation finally occurred, not through harshness, but through Lot's own choice. Only then, the Torah tells us, was Avram 75 years old, the age mentioned in connection with the command Lech Lecha. Perhaps this teaches us that the full realization of this mitzvah only took place when he reached that age. Avram understood that Hashem's will must be fulfilled, but also that it must be fulfilled in a way that honors human dignity and relationships. V'chein be'enei Elokim v'Adam, that you'll find favor both with heaven and with people. When Avram arrives in Eretz Canaan, the Torah tells us, Vayavar Avram ba'aretz ad mekayim Shechem ad Elon Moreh. He passed through the land to the place of Shechem to Elon Moreh. Why does the Torah specifically mention Shechem? Rashi explains that Avram davened there for his descendants. Shechem would be the site of future events, the sale of Yosef, the defense of Dinah by Shimon and Levi, and the acceptance of Arevus, mutual responsibility of the Jewish people at Har Grizim and Har Eval. Rav David writes that Shechem represents the birthplace of Jewish solidarity, the understanding that each Jew is responsible for the other, that we stand together as one people. When Avram saw Shechem, he worried. The pasuk says, "Va'kanani oz ba'aretz," the Canaanim were in the land. Rashi explains that they were conquering it from the descendants of Shem. Avram wondered, is this the peaceful land Hashem promised me? It's filled with violence and strife. But Hashem reassured him the violence was temporary, caused by the presence of the Canaanim. When your children return, they will immediately go to Shechem to accept Arevus for one another, and the land will become a place of unity and peace. Parshas Lech Lecha teaches us that the journey of faith is not about knowing every step in advance. Hashem told Avram, El ha'aretz asher areka, to the land that I will show you, not the land that I will describe to you, not the land that I have explained to you, the land I will show you when you arrive. Avram walked forward without seeing the destination, trusting that Hashem would reveal it at the proper time. This is the model for every Jew. We are called to move forward to life, to leave behind habits, environments, relationships that hold us back spiritually, even when the future is unclear. We are told to trust that Lech Lecha, when followed with sincerity, leads to bracha. That separation from what hinders us opens the path to becoming who we truly are meant to be. Rav David's insights remind us that the journey must be undertaken with wisdom, sensitivity, and patience. Not every separation happens overnight. Not every mitzvah is fulfilled in the moment we first hear it. But as long as we continue walking as Avram did, with faith, with responsibility, with kindness, we fulfill the eternal mitzvah that began it all, Lech Lecha. Have a wonderful Shabbos. My name is Avram K, and you're watching Alfei Panim.